that which does not kill us makes us stronger. Friedrich Nietzsche. Why do those who lie, cheat, and exploit others so often rise to the top, while the honest and compassionate struggle to survive? The world teems with examples: politicians who weaponize corruption, CEOs who crush competition through ruthlessness, and influencers who manipulate truths for clout. Yet the virtuous, those who prioritize fairness and integrity, are frequently overlooked, underpaid, or even exploited. If morality truly dictated success, wouldn't the most principled among us wield the greatest influence? Why does reality favor the cunning over the kind? Friedrich Nietzsche shattered this idealistic illusion. He argued that power isn't bestowed upon the deserving, it's seized by those bold enough to take it. Life, in his view, is a relentless battleground. Those who hesitate, who cling to fairness or wait for permission, are trampled. The victors are the ones who act decisively, unburdened by doubt or guilt. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. If you've ever questioned why corruption thrives while goodness falters, Nietzsche's unflinching insights will redefine your understanding of power. Prepare to see the world not as it should be, but as it is. From childhood, we're fed a narrative. Virtues like kindness, honesty, and hard work guarantee success. Religions, fables, and societal norms preach that goodness is rewarded and wickedness punished. Yet the world we inhabit tells a starkly different story. Consider the rise of cutthroat executives who prioritize profit over ethics, or leaders who consolidate authority through fear, not fairness. If moral superiority truly bred success, why aren't the most selfless among us ruling nations or revolutionizing industries? Nietzsche dissected this contradiction, revealing a sobering truth. Power favors the bold, not the benevolent. Society's moral framework, he argued, is often a smokescreen. Those in power define good and evil to serve their interests, preaching humility and compliance to keep others in check. Meanwhile, the ruthless thrive because they grasp power's essence. It isn't earned through virtue but claimed through audacity. Good people falter, shackled by hesitation and the hope that fairness will prevail. The powerful, however, act. They manipulate perceptions, exploit weaknesses, and rewrite rules to secure dominance. Nietzsche's message isn't an endorsement of cruelty, but a wake-up call. Clinging to naivety ensures defeat. To navigate a world where morality is weaponized, one must see beyond the myth. The game of power isn't about fairness, it's about foresight. Why do the unscrupulous consistently outmaneuver the virtuous? The answer lies in power's unspoken rules, a game where strategy trumps morality. Nietzsche observed that success hinges not on righteousness, but on mastery of power's mechanics. The world's apex predators, corrupt politicians, monopolistic tycoons, manipulative leaders, share a common trait. They treat life as a chessboard. They anticipate moves, exploit vulnerabilities, and prioritize outcomes over ethics. Their victories stem not from hard work alone, but from leveraging influence, fear, and perception. They grasp that power is rarely given, it's engineered through calculated aggression. Goodness, by contrast, often breeds complacency. The principled cling to rules, assuming merit will be recognized. They hesitate, fearing collateral damage or moral compromise. But power favors the unencumbered, those who act swiftly, even ruthlessly, to secure advantage. The corrupt thrive because they mold reality to their will, reframing evil as necessity and manipulation as strategy. Nietzsche warned that morality itself is a weapon. Those in power define good to legitimize their rule and vilify challengers. By preaching fairness, they pacify rivals while covertly rewriting the rules. The result? A cycle where the strong consolidate control and the well-intentioned remain pawns. To break free, one must recognize power's indifference to virtue. It rewards not the deserving, but the determined. The question isn't whether to play the game, it's whether you'll master it, or be mastered by it. Nietzsche's exploration of power extends beyond strategy. It pierces the core of human psychology. At its foundation, power thrives on primal instincts, fear, greed, and the craving for certainty. Those who ascend recognize this, weaponizing emotions to bend reality to their will. The powerful are architects of perception. They project unshakable confidence, masking doubt to command loyalty. Charisma becomes a tool, fear a motivator, and intelligence a lever to shift narratives. Unlike the virtuous, who trust in collective goodwill, the shrewd understand that people rarely act on altruism alone. They act on incentives. Thus, power is not a reward for morality, but a prize for those who master the art of influence. Yet dominance demands nuance. Unchecked aggression breeds rebellion, while passivity invites exploitation. The most adept rulers, Caesar, Machiavelli, modern moguls, balance force with adaptability. They read opponents, pivot strategies, and cloak ambition in necessity. History's titans didn't just seize power, they reshaped the psychological landscape, turning followers into devotees and critics into relics. Society romanticizes the myth that humility and fairness guarantee success, but Nietzsche exposes this as delusion. The world's greatest empires and innovations were forged not by the meek, but by those who harnessed humanity's darker impulses. To survive, let alone thrive, one must abandon the hope that virtue alone will prevail. Power demands a ruthless understanding of human nature. See the game, play the game, or be outplayed. The choice is stark. Cling to idealism and remain a pawn, or grasp the psychology of power and rewrite your role in its story. At the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy lies the will to power, the primal force driving all human action, from survival to domination. It is not mere desire for control, but an existential imperative, the urge to transcend, create, and impose one's essence upon the world. Most suppress this instinct. Conditioned to equate ambition with greed and strength with tyranny, they shrink into complacency, mistaking obedience for virtue. Yet Nietzsche insists that greatness emerges only when we embrace this will, rejecting societal shackles that conflate meekness with morality. History's titans, Caesar, Da Vinci, Catherine the Great, did not ascend by waiting for permission. They seized agency, turning obstacles into stepping stones. Their evil was often just a label slapped onto their refusal to conform. For Nietzsche, the will to power is neither good nor evil. It is neutral, a raw energy that becomes destructive only when channeled through resentment or fear. But what of the adage, power corrupts? Nietzsche flips the script. Weakness corrupts more. The resentful who lack the courage to claim power instead demonize it. They moralize envy, painting ambition as sin to justify their stagnation. True corruption, he argues, festers not in strength but in passivity, the refusal to rise, to risk, to become. To wield the will to power is not to embrace cruelty, it is to reject victimhood, to see hardship as fuel, and to define success on your own terms. It demands ruthless self-honesty. What will you sacrifice? What will you build? The choice is visceral. Stagnate in the safety of societal approval. Evolve by harnessing your latent force. The will to power is not a call to tyranny, it's a call to awaken. Will you heed it, or remain a footnote in someone else's story? Nietzsche's revelations about power are jarring, but they beg a critical question. Must we discard morality to thrive in a ruthless world? His answer is no. True strength lies not in cruelty, but in transcending naivety. The dichotomy of good versus evil is a trap. Morality, when blindly followed, becomes a cage. Nietzsche urges us to interrogate societal values. Do they empower or enslave? Strength isn't the absence of ethics, it's the audacity to define ethics on your terms. Consider the entrepreneur who innovates without exploiting, or the leader who inspires without manipulating. Their power stems not from conformity to goodness, but from clarity of purpose. History's most transformative figures, Gandhi, Mandela, Curie, balanced unyielding resolve with ethical vision. They understood power's mechanics, but channeled it toward ideals larger than themselves. Nietzsche's philosophy doesn't dismiss morality. It demands that morality serve growth, not stagnation. The key is agency. Waiting for fairness is surrender. Instead, Cultivate resilience, strategic thinking, and self-mastery. Power and principle need not clash. They can coexist when guided by intentionality. The world's rules are malleable. Reshape them, but let your vision be rooted in something beyond mere domination. Will you hide behind excuses or rise with purpose? Nietzsche's truths are not for the faint of heart. They force a reckoning. Will you remain a passive observer of your life or become its architect? This isn't a plea to abandon decency. It's a demand to stop confusing virtue with vulnerability. The game of power is real, and ignorance guarantees defeat. Arm yourself with knowledge. Study influence. Forge resilience. Decide whether your morals are chains or choices. The corrupt thrive because they act. The good falter because they wait. Break this cycle. Rewrite your narrative. Does power corrupt, or does it reveal who we truly are? Share your verdict below. If this exploration ignited your mind, subscribe for more deep dives into philosophy, power, and the human condition. The game is relentless. Will you play to win?